I was totally just gonna sleep in and not do it, and I did sleep in until 7:30, and that felt like sleeping really late all of a sudden, which is crazy. After just 4 days of waking up at 6:30, all of a sudden 7:30 seems like this incredible luxury, which is amazing. And then I woke up and I heard the sounds of the birds, and I got a whiff of fresh air from the window, and I was like, I have to be out there. My body was like, no, we're going out. I think one of the messages of today is seeing how starting good habits in motion can be difficult, but once you get it started, it takes on a momentum that carries you along. I had a really interesting dream last night. I believe that dreams are mostly about the emotion that you feel in the dream, and the feeling in my dream was grief, but it was also love. It was really interesting. The dream was that a fictional made-up person who was a family friend, had been a friend of my brother's since childhood, and he even had a name. His name was Colin in my dream. I got the news that he had died, and I had never really been that close to him, or so I thought. But when I heard that he died, it just totally shattered me, and I just cried and cried and cried. I don't know if I've ever cried so much in a dream. And I just kept thinking how I couldn't believe that he was gone. And this is fun. Sorry, a person came. I got a new trick when people catch me talking to my camera. I use my phone as my camera because that's all I have right now. I realize what I can do is I pause the recording and then I hold my phone up to my ear and I pretend that I'm talking on the phone. It's perfect. Yeah, I kept thinking how it seemed like the main reason that I was grieving so hard was because I had this feeling that he was a part of my family, and it was just so interesting, and I felt like I cried for hours and hours. And then all of a sudden, this guy that I had been grieving, he showed up at the house. And I just, of course, fell apart. And he held me and I cried. And I tried to explain to him how much it had affected me that I thought he was dead. And he explained, I don't know, he was in some government or like military thing where he had to pretend he was dead and people were after him and whatever. And I tried to explain to him that, I hadn't realized how important he was to me until I thought he was dead and like that he was a part of our family. Yeah, so Colin was a little nonchalant about the whole thing. And I think that he was probably surprised too that I had such a big reaction because we hadn't been close. But it felt so good to know that he was back, and then I woke up. So what the heck was that about? I was writing about it in my morning pages, as I do when I have a powerful dream. And, clearly, Colin represents some part of me that I lost. And I didn't know how important it was until I heard that it was gone. And, the grief was real and what the emotion was real. I was just contemplating, what would that be? I'm not sure. If you have any ideas, feel free to let me know. But it was powerful. It was beautiful. It really was a beautiful dream. Byron Katie says that grief is really love. And this was the first time that I really kind of experienced that. It was like I was feeling grief, but at the same time it felt like love. And it was a beautiful emotion. It felt good, actually. You know what Colin might represent is my sense of being connected to other people, because that's the thing. Family is definitely a part of it. I just kept thinking, the reason that it's so painful to lose him is because he was a part of our family. And the reason I just thought of that is because the other thing I wanted to share about today is I'm going to be going into my yoga teacher training weekend starting in a couple hours, and I've been learning a lot about how I am as a part of a group from being in here. And when I went to start, I was like, oh, but that's an unrelated topic. I'm just going to jump into this unrelated topic. And I was like, wait a minute, maybe it's not unrelated. I feel that I've been experiencing a lot of healing around the way that I participate in groups. And this yoga teacher training has been a great opportunity for me to practice that. And the place that I'm coming from is, you know, in my family of origin, I was the youngest. I was the little girl. And my father and my brother were both very powerful personalities. My mom is too. So I felt very powerless in my family growing up. And I felt very small. And that was kind of my role, you know. If you've studied family systems at all, there's a family systems role where you're the small one and the weak one, and that was the role that I played. And for most people, the role that you play in your family of origin, you tend to bring that with you into any group, unless you do a lot of work on it. So that's definitely my pattern. It would be to stay small and be quiet and show submission. And I'll say that in this group, I decided that I was going to share the value that I have, and that I was going to allow myself to be an important member of the group. I was not going to shy away from sharing my opinion. I was going to participate fully. And I have been practicing that. And I think I went a little overboard at first, actually. I felt like I was a little bit overpowering, which is a very unusual experience for me. But when you're trying to change habits, there's usually some pendulum swinging that happens, where you have to find the opposite of where you've been before you can find the happy middle ground. So I experienced a little bit of that. But the last yoga training weekend, I had a really great experience. I'm not sure where this came from. It must have been just a combination of all the stuff that I've been reading and listening to. But all of a sudden, I had kind of an epiphany around identity, and seeing that I have been working really hard on my separate self and my identity, and healing me and my personality. And I have cut myself off from other people a lot in order to do that. And I think that was a necessary phase for me to go through, because I had so much trouble with setting boundaries with other people. I was so easily lost in other people and their opinions and their expectations that I really needed to separate myself from them to find myself. But now I've done that. I have found myself, and I've learned how to set boundaries. And I was continuing to separate myself out of habit, and I started to feel the pain of that, and I started to not want to be that way. And then I read Beyond Civilization and Ishmael and all these books by Daniel Quinn, where he talks about tribalism, and how tribalism is the social system that humans evolved with that works the best for our species. And tribalism is all about kind of a group identity. And I felt homesick for that when I learned about that. All of a sudden I realized that that is what I wanted. Oh my God, that's probably what Colin represents. Oh, Colin, you didn't die. You're back. Don't you ever do that again. You scared the shit out of me. So, okay, this is something you can do. It's something that I have been doing. It sounds kind of abstract, but it's actually a very concrete experience. When I'm in a group, and this yoga teacher training is a great one to practice it, but you can do it in any group. You're sitting there, you're feeling yourself as a separate person. You probably start having thoughts about comparing yourself to other people, right? Everybody has that. So for me, I'll either have a thought where I'm judging somebody else and I'm thinking that they're not as good as me, or I'm judging myself and thinking I'm not as good as other people. Or sometimes I have the thought, wow, I am awesome. I am probably better than most of these people. Or I'll have the thought, that person is awesome. They are definitely better than me and most of these other people. So any one of those ways of comparing, in the past when I would have a thought like that, often I would recognize that I didn't want to have that thought, or I knew that it had a negative impact on me and my self-esteem and the way I relate to other people. Whether it's positive or negative, it's not comfortable, you know. But I didn't really know what to do about it. I couldn't get rid of it. I would usually beat myself up about it. I would be like, oh my god, I can't believe that I'm being so stuck up. And I would try to like beat myself down. I'd be like, no, I suck. Or if I was comparing myself negatively, then I would try to be like, oh, it's okay, you're okay. But none of it really worked that well. So check this out. This is the new thing that works really awesomely well, no matter what it is. So, for example, the thought that I messed up. That's the most common one. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe that I said that stupid thing. All of a sudden, I get this, like, you know, my own voice in my head, but like the wiser part of myself saying, it is okay that I said a stupid thing, because all of these people in this room have said stupid things. And then I feel my sense of me-ness spreading out to include all of the people in the room. I feel that I am not just this body, I am all of those people as well. And it's a beautiful feeling, no matter what. Same thing, somebody else says something stupid, I find myself judging them, and I say, it's okay that that person said something stupid, because I have also said things that are stupid. And then I feel, again, I feel that all of my identity spreads out to include all of these people that are around. And same thing with positive. If I, you know, it usually comes from doing something good. You know, it's like, oh, I really got what the teacher was saying, you know. And I might start to have that thought like, oh, I'm like so smart. And then I think, it is okay that I got what the teacher is saying, because everyone else in this room has at some point gotten what the teacher is saying. And then I feel, and there it's like this kind of inflated sense of like, I'm so awesome, that spreads out. And I'm like, all these people are awesome. We're all awesome. And if it's somebody else did something good, and I see, you know, normally maybe I could feel jealous or I could feel less than. I'm like, oh, that person said something really smart. And then I think, it is okay that that person said something really smart, because I have also said things that are really smart, and I feel that we all are one. We're all the same, because that's true. Everybody says stupid things, everybody says smart things. It's not such a big deal. But the bigger deal is the feeling of connectedness and group identity. And it doesn't even matter that the group is temporary. That's the other thing. It doesn't matter who the other people are. We're all human beings, and we're all a part of the human race. And I haven't found any harm coming to me from feeling group identity with any group of people, even if it's just the other people around me in a coffee shop. It's a temporary group identity. Nothing bad has come from it, only good has come from it. It makes me feel like I belong. It makes me feel like I can express myself in a healthy and appropriate way where I'm valuing myself, but I'm not valuing myself above other people. It's super cool! And you can also do it when you're alone, by the way. People don't have to be nearby. You can also just bring to mind, like, a group of people that you know, your family or whatever. You know, it's okay that I feel alone right now, because every person on Earth has felt alone at some time. Cool stuff, right? Let me know if you try it. Let me know if it works for you. I'm excited about it. And I hope you have a beautiful day of homecoming. I hope that your long-lost brother's friend turns out to be alive. And I hope that you feel a sense of humble self-worth and connection to the rest of our species, because we're really all the same.